Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Greg. I am a professional motorsport videographer. And while these days I'm making stuff that looks like this, there was a time my video edits looked like this. And today we're going to take a trip down memory lane and review some of my old work. Okay, so if you're new here, my name is Greg, and I travel the world making various forms of motorsports content. In the last 12 months, I have shot a variety of racing types, including World Endurance Championship in Qatar, F1 in Vegas, the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and next week I head back to France for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But before I was doing all this stuff, I was once figuring out how to use my camera and shooting some of my first edits. And today we're going to take a look back and look at some of this stuff and evaluate it together. First up on that list is the very first video that I ever made with what was then my brand new Sony A7 III. I didn't know what a gimbal was, and I saw somebody talking about it on YouTube, so I ran to Best Buy and bought a Zhiyun crane, whatever they were selling at the time. And I thought that meant I would get shots exactly like I was seeing online. As it turns out, it was a lot harder than that. But nonetheless, we had to start somewhere, and this was the very first edit that I ever made. Lovely little logo there. So cinematic. Warp stabilizer doing its thing. Oh Lord. Parked right next to a van. Why? Nice little tilt down. Pretty basic. Warp stabilizer going again. Holy. All my movements are pretty basic. Oh, my steadiness is just horrid. I was on a gimbal, mind you, for this. Extremely basic shots. Nothing dynamic. Basically side-to-side pans. Got the van in again. Took me forever to learn how to make that little Supra draw, and I was so proud of it at the time. And there you go, my first ever edit. This was my car at the time, and I sort of got this camera because I, had some weird hunch of wanting to film myself working on it. I thought it would be really easy. It turns out it was a lot of work, but this is where I started. Opening shot with the parked right next to a van because I didn't know what I was doing. Why I didn't park closer in these spots, I have no idea. I wasn't shooting in log or anything back then, and I don't even know what this color grade is. It was probably like a preset in Premiere, which is what I was using at the time. A lot of side-to-side panning shots, maybe some up and down here, full autofocus. I didn't really know anything about exposure. I didn't know anything about focus. I'm confident these are not in the correct frame rate they were supposed to be in. My steadiness was horrible. The warp stabilizer, just absolutely horrible. It's such a good looking car too, and I'm just filming it from such boring angles. Like, this is just such a boring angle. I would give this Supra video today a 4 out of 10. The shots are extremely repetitive. The color is kind of weird. It's just not all that interesting. It was my first one, so I'm trying to be easy on myself. But yeah, I think 4 out of 10 is being kind to myself. So yeah, I was just going for vibes. Ultimately, it was a fun little thing to put together, and it sparked what sort of became a passion for video for me that I was sort of living out through the car at the time, and then it slowly started to make its way into my motorsports interest. From there, I spent a lot of time learning the craft. I would take my camera and gimbal setup to different auto shows that were in the St. Louis area and basically tried to learn as much as I could. I became like obsessed with this stuff. I had another opportunity to shoot at a go-kart race that I was working in Miami. I wasn't there to shoot video, but I did sneak in a little bit of time where I was able to try to flex sort of some of the new stuff that I had been learning. Beach vibes, trees at the track, trees at the beach. Speed ramping is whew. Green flag and then a green flag at the track. Lovely transition in the visor. I spent a lot of time on that. Very dramatic. I finally learned what slow motion was. I was using a LUT, some crazy LUT at this point. I didn't know what I was doing. no audio somehow.
It was the most terrifying moment any of us have ever spent in our lives.
Ordinary people join with police in searching for the victims.
Okay, so obviously a big step up in my opinion from the video that I first made with the Supra. At this point, I knew what log was, I knew what slow motion was. I still don't think I really knew much about shutters and frame rates and all of that, but I had some idea of how to at least make stuff slow motion. Had a bit of a Miami scene at the beginning. It doesn't really capture Miami at all. I didn't really have a plan, and I didn't even know at the time I was going to be able to shoot this much. But in the intro sequence, I was showing palm trees at the beach and then palm trees at the track, some random B-roll clips. I showed a green flag at the beach and then green flag at the track. For some reason, I was trying to draw parallels between that stuff, standard water shots, and this I'd spent a lot of time on. I actually haven't done a second version of this since I did it, and I should. I've seen stuff like this out there, but I spent a lot of time on this clip making that transition into the visor. I think I just used like a blue solid, had a desaturated image sort of fade in, and then tried to basically scale it with the visor. Obviously, it doesn't do it for like the first 5 or 6 frames. There is no scaling going on. Then eventually it catches and it zooms in kind of nice with it, but ultimately I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but I think it's pretty good considering this was like only my 3rd or 4th ever actual edit. And ultimately the color, some of these shots are not bad, you know, like some of these shots are pretty good. This is like probably not something I would do nowadays. I love the sky. The sky looks great. But it's an awfully awkward angle of him putting his helmet on. Did some GoPro stuff. Again, at this point, I had no idea what frame rates were, or how to sort of handle customizing the settings on the GoPros. I thought having them on would be good enough. Colors are okay. They're punchy, a little crunchy in the blacks. I find that the color and the temperature is all over the place. I didn't really know anything about light back then. And so, you know, I'm backlit sometimes, I'm frontlit other times, and it's changing like polarization. And because of that, the track surface, for example, is much different. It's a little neutral and pink right there. It's a little warm right here. Tried to get a little creative. I've always been an action cam person. This proves it. This was in 2021, right before COVID. So this right here proves that I've always been sort of obsessed with action cams. I just had no idea how to use them back then. I also learned how to speed ramp, and apparently I must have just learned how to speed ramp because, as is the case when you learn any new trick in editing or coloring, you end up overdoing it a little bit before you sort of pull it back and use it properly. And I did a lot of speed ramping in this one. Almost every clip. I mean, pretty much every clip is speed ramped. I do not remember speed ramping this much. Okay, there we go. Yeah, horrible frame rates, no motion blur. I don't know what. I guess I was shooting in slow-mo the whole time. But some of this stuff looks good. Like this is a cool shot. It's so crazy because the quality of shots, like you go from this, which is a pretty neat little shot, to whatever this is. I don't even know what I was trying to do here. Yeah, obviously a big improvement over the first one that you saw with the Supra. So we're headed in the right direction. If I was judging this video, I would probably give it a 8 out of 10, I would say. Maybe a 9 out of 10 actually, because at the time I really didn't know a lot, and I tried to incorporate quite a bit into this one. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna say 9 out of 10 because I had a lot of GoPro stuff that was really cool angles, even though the settings were horrible. I think the color was kind of fun. It was definitely overdoing it with whatever LUT I was using at the time, but I think the color was pretty good. And then I've got some cool transitions in there. I was thinking transitions first and apart from like the green flag stuff on the beach, the helmet visor transition was really cool. And it was sort of the first time I started getting like real, actually good looking shots. So I would give, for the time, I would give this one a 9 out of 10. Today, it definitely wouldn't be that, but for the time, I would say a 9 out of 10. Now, that Miami video really sparked something in me that made me want to do more and more of this. I sort of became more and more obsessed. I spent more and more time trying to get better and better and better and watch and consume as much content as I could, which led to my first ever sort of real racing gig. That first paid gig was at Circuit of the Americas shooting the F4 race. Lovely little intro. Pretty nice opening shot. Oh, not bad. Him walking to me. Okay. Some just B-roll. Pretty basic. Mix is horrible. More speed ramping. It's really into speed ramping, I guess. Not great location on some of these shots. That was cool. There we go. Oof. Rough on board. For me, the actual shot quality from the karting video to this is quite a bit different, and that's mostly because the access at kart tracks is so easy. This is my first time at a properly large circuit with a big piece of glass that made it a lot harder to know where to stand, know where to get those kinds of shots. It's funny because I'm actually using, at this point I had bought the Sony 100-400 G Master, which is the exact same lens that I use now to shoot everything. And so it's interesting to see the quality difference, the focal range, and where I'm setting up, the difference in how I would handle it today. So like I said, it's a pretty nice little opening shot here. Another one of these like cinematic bar reveal deals. I don't know what I was doing there. Had a little hero shot. I guess it was like right post-COVID. This was probably late 2022, so we were still doing the mask thing. I did a little split screen thing here to sort of try to build some hype and energy. I do a lot of speed ramping here at the beginning for some reason. Now today I would never do that. When you build that hype and you get to the beat drop of a song, I generally try to almost do the opposite. I try to bring in my fastest, coolest clip, and I think that helps build the energy up a little bit to start the edit. Kind of silly to, build that up and then kill it with this speed ramp here. More gimbal work. Don't know what the camera is focused on, but it's definitely not the track. And see, this is an angle where today, this one here, you're close to the car and it's whizzing by you at speed. I would never shoot this in slow-mo like this now. I would shoot this 24 frames, 180 degree shutter, so I get tons of motion blur and make the thing feel real fast. This turn one shot is just bad. This is not a good spot for video. This is all right. That's cool. This is cool too. That little pan down. I don't even remember doing that. Yeah, and then we get into some interviews, so not as interesting. Ultimately, I think this edit was a real tester. I learned that cars are a lot harder than go-karts, and so started my journey into trying to get better at shooting race cars. Very inconsistent with the color. You can kind of see like, just like this right here, for example, the track, using the track, it's very warm. Not very warm, but it's a bit warm. And then you go to this shot where it's very cold, right? And there's a lot of temperature differences. Look at the racetrack here. You've got a lot of blue, a little bit of green tint even, and then it's a lot warmer in the next clip. Live and learn. I would give this video a 6 out of 10. I think it was a regression from the karting video that I did a year earlier, but it was also my first time shooting real race cars, and those are significantly harder to shoot. But I still am just not overly impressed with it. I was struggling with color. I was struggling with shooting. And so I would give this one a 6 out of 10. All right, this next one starts my trajectory into the professional space. The USF championships were coming to my home track at WWT, and I reached out to all the teams basically trying to pitch some video for the event. And thankfully, I had one team, Exclusive Autosport Bite. I made some content for them that weekend, and that propelled me into an entire full-time job with them for the next year. That was the client that when I got it, I was able to leave my existing job and go full-time as a freelancer. And so here is the edit that got that done. Oh my God. Look at the sensor spots. Oh Lord. Oh, that's bad. Okay, anyway, carry on. Okay, so from the last video at Circuit of the Americas to this one, it was almost an entire year. And you can instantly tell that the shot quality is significantly higher than it was from the videos at Coda. I had a much better sense of where to stand at the racetrack. I'd actually shot several races as a fan, and that helps teach you sort of where to stand and what to look for. And so you can tell right out of the gate, these shots are significantly better quality, like where I was standing and the motion of the car, than where they were when I was at Circuit of the Americas. I'm still not in the right frame rate. It appears as though this entire thing is shot in 120 frames. That one's 24. Okay, even though sensor spots aside, this one looks like just a wide 24. Pretty nice little gimbal shot. This is a cool angle, but without motion blur, these shots are just, they don't look as fast as they should. This car should be whizzing by those pylons. And because I'm shooting in 120 frames, there's not a lot of motion blur. This is good. That's good. Oh yeah, speed ramp burnout that's good stuff. It's a cool little wide angle. I don't know what I was doing here. The focus is on these poles, not on the track, so the cars look kind of weird going by. That's a good shot there. The podium stuff was good. Celebration stuff was pretty good. And like I said, this is what got me hired. I spent in 2 entire seasons with this team because I reached out and tried to pitch something really easy for this race, and they liked it enough to hire me, and I worked with them for 2 solid years before I sort of went the entire sports car route. Now, I'd worked on the business side a lot from the Circuit of the Americas video to this one, and at this point I was delivering content during the same day. So what you don't see is the months I spent learning how to edit quickly so that I was able to turn this stuff pretty quick, because it was becoming obvious to me that that was where the industry was going. And so while the edit itself is definitely a far improvement over what you saw previously, also know that it was delivered significantly faster. All right, and that's a look at some of my early work. It's nice to take this little trip down memory lane. I don't get to do that very often. Obviously, my work has changed a lot since then. And yeah, we've gotten a little bit better. It would be interesting to hear the other way around, what brand new Greg would have to say about today's version of it. And that would be kind of cool to hear, but nonetheless, I'm proud of the distance we've made from these first ones for sure. But yeah, happy to do more stuff like this. We have quite a busy month. I head to Detroit tomorrow and then Le Mans next week. I'm not sure when this video is actually going to come out. I am going to make another series like I did for Daytona, a sort of road to Le Mans series. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. I love doing the Daytona one. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all the buttons, clicking that they say. Loads of stuff coming up I'm excited about. Can't wait to get into it. But until then, we will see you in the next one.